Right, so back at it. Thought I'd start a couple of minutes early just because we can get going with this. So I've made some progress in my downtime, which I don't normally do, but because we're, kind of very much limited by time with this Blocktober stuff, I needed to do so that there was less kind of the boring stuff for you guys to look at. So that hasn't been recorded, and literally I'm going to just walk you through things I did in the meantime, really. So this is what the scene was looking at when we left it, and we did a nice little get this open, a render, which looks great, and that's what I put on Twitter. That's what you've probably seen. This is just in Modo, so I was pretty happy with how it looked at this stage, but the idea for this is so that it's in engine. So over the last couple of days I've just been recreating the scene but in Unreal. Now I haven't actually used Unreal for maybe a month or so, but essentially I just got everything in, broke it all down, which I'll go through in a minute, and set up in the way it was in Modo, and then I've got a camera set up as well, so it kind of looks like sort of the right angle. I think it needs to change ever so slightly, but we're in the right ballpark nonetheless. So that's really what I've been doing for the last couple of lunchtimes, so maybe like 2.5 hours. It's been difficult to judge time because sometimes it is soul destroying, doing 3D, then doing 3D, then doing 3D, and then doing 3D. Day job, lunch, day job, night. But yeah, hey T3, hey T bro. So I'm just going to walk through how I got it into Engine. So when I like to work, I have this folder, and I went through this briefly last stream, called Live Assets, and it's green. So when you open the file, anything that's in that folder you can assume is live, and so therefore is live in the project, and then ergo that's the mesh that will be in the game. And then if we open this up, you can see, if I just turn off the block out, so these are all at 000, and I'll just scroll through them. They're literally ripped out. Some of them are just cubes. I haven't done anything fancy yet, and I've just called them SM static mesh _ and then whatever it is, and then I don't use numbers, I use letters, because if you use numbers, I find that on the root, so when you have them in the scene, if you have duplicates of them, they become arch 2, arch 3, arch 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. Whereas if it's arch A1, A2, A3, A4, at least you all of those arches are the same arch. That's why I use letters. In terms of the buildings, I just broke those blocks down into pieces. Now for the first 8, so A to H, it's they're the same pieces but just reversed. I is one of the fronts, so is J, and K is another one by the arch. Basically, anything where I couldn't get it working as I wanted, I just created a new building for it, and there's only 3, and as time goes on, these would be, you could work these into actual individual buildings as well. Door steps, windows, big steps, the paving slabs, and then I had 4 beams, 4 drapes, 4 pieces of rope. And then what I also did was I exported those blocks that I had. I call these PH, so that's placeholder. So if there's a PH mesh, I know it's not the final mesh. So that's why I brought in So all the drapes in one, all the beams in one, all the rope in one, all the buildings and the ground in one. And I also had these building blocks. Now, the reason I had them was so that I had, when I made a blueprint of the buildings, I had something to match to, so I knew that they were going to match when I put them into the final level. So that's what I did with them. Also, they're all at 0, so they, in terms of like an asset-based workflow, if everything's at 0 and everything is aligned to the right angle as much as possible, then you're going to get less inconsistencies through your assets. And then after I did all that, I quickly just gave everything hard edges or soft edges, depending on what it is. And that was literally by selecting all the edges and going hard edge through the vertex normal toolkit. I then also unwrapped everything. So if we go to textures, everything's got like an atlas unwrap, and all I did was click projection, clicked it, it's already done it. I then relax things. I haven't really done it on these, my bad. Then I orientate them with auto, and then I pack them, and that's all I do in this current pass. And what I also do as well is I give it a second UV set using the same approach, just because we'll be using the second UV set to bake our light maps. And I found that if you don't have something like this set up from the beginning, then it's quite hard to change. I don't know if they've fixed it in the current version, but it was you could toggle it on and off, but it didn't seem to do anything. And so when I was doing Beyond Human, that was kind of lost, unfortunately. I couldn't get the light maps to look at a newly imported set, and it was right up until the wire, and there was no time for it. So that's what I do in this kind of initial stage, and then what I do from there is I just highlight the things I want to export, and then in Modo it's super easy. You just right click and go export selected layers, and then I always go FBX 2015. This is Modo 10, so that's the latest one for here. Okay, and then you choose the folder it wants to go into. So for me, I make sure that in my objects folder I have an exports folder, and then in this exports folder, that's where I put all of my live meshes. Again, it's good to have a clear definition of where your files are on the system. It'll just make finding stuff later on so much more easy. And that's all I do. That's all I've kind of done. And then in Unreal, I just went through and placed everything. So if we go into the scene here, I can turn on the buildings. So I don't know if you can see it, but the toggle is going on and off, and you can see I've matched the placement of the buildings to my PH export. Likewise the beams, the drapes not so much, but they're quite fiddly. I'm probably going to change over time as well. The ground is the same apart from the paving slabs, because they're new pieces, so I've just scattered them where I thought might be quite nice. And I haven't had time to do the ropes yet, so I need to do that. Excuse me. And then all I did was whack in a skylight, whack in a directional light, put in some reflection spheres, and position my camera. And that's all. That's all I've done. But that's quite boring for you guys to see, just me kind of just doing UV and all the time and stuff. So with that all out of the way, the next few hours I'm going to be concentrating on, well, I need to put these ropes in first, so that is going to be a bit boring for you guys. I thought about having some vertical drapes, so I like to get those in, and then I need to do a pass on stalls and props, just to flesh out the scene a bit more, and then hopefully we'll have time to do textures, and just kind of go through my workflow for just getting stuff out quickly. So yeah, that's kind of my plan for the evening. Hey Dave, so your face on my Facebook thing about you doing staff's talks. You're doing pictures now. No, I'm yes, I am doing a staff's talk. But damn it, I didn't put the hashtag in. Balls. Hold on. Can I edit this? No. Oh shit, wrong one. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so basically, yes, I'm doing a talk, and they've got a graphic designer apparently now. I can show you the what you call it. James sent it to me, and I thought it looked great. Look at it. I mean, it's a little big, my face, but hello, environment work. Yeah. So I'm at Staff's on Monday. Doing a presentation and then like some kind of CV thing, and then I'm going to be doing a workshop which will be very similar to what I'm doing with this kind of thing, because I think it's a really important thing doing blockout stuff. Yeah, so again, let me know if there's any drops in the stream. I'll be on Discord on my phone, so you'll be able to get me through that hopefully. But yeah, we are going to continue. What did I say? Ropes and stalls. So we'll leave those. Let's just do some stalls for the moment. So if we go back to my original reference, this kind of thing. So kind of makeshift on tables. I want lots of this kind of thing. Urns and crates and sacks and stuff like that, because I think that will really help pull out the scene a bit, because at the moment it's quite an open space, and I think it will benefit from just having kind of more like proppy stuff about. I mean, we'll see, but that's my general idea for it. So let's carry on. Let's crack on with all this jazz. Okay, so live assets. Right, so I want to get my dude back, and I'm just going to close this window and this one. Leave the camera for actually, let's just move that off screen for the moment. Yeah, so please, if you have any questions, then please chime in. Right, so these boxes need to look like they can be carried, and I don't like having just cubes, so all I'm going to do is spruce these up a little bit, just because I think you get more out of it if your blockouts aren't just the bare minimum. Also, Dave, I was just wondering where they were going to advertise it as well, because so I don't go to uni there, I have no idea. I should probably tweet about it. Right, and at this stage, I think it's always good to UV. And all I'm doing is relaxing, orientating, packing. That is it. And now, with that UV, I can copy it, paste it. Like so. Maybe I don't like those side ones actually. that's all we need to do really. What I also like doing actually at this stage is I like making things a little wonky, just because it helps break up the silhouette from an early stage. Because I don't really like it when stuff is just sat there. Okay, so there's one box. And let's do another one. Make that longer. In fact, we can just grab this, copy and paste it, and double the length of it. Okay. And I'll probably just move these into the centre and rotate. Okay, so we've got two boxes, and then on this box we can have two open boxes as well. So if we extrude inwards and downwards, and then same with the other one. And you know, we're not doing anything fancy at all here, and that's the beauty of this. It's like, well, that's the beauty of blocking stuff out, is that you can be as rough as you like. Oh, acid. Well, I mean, it's at the uni. I don't know if I think it's for like a course itself, but you could ask around if you want to come. But I suppose it's definitely aimed at students. What I'm doing. So I'm starting a small project today because there is still a week left until the ArtStation Challenge begins. Yes. To be honest, this whole block out stuff, I was just like, am I going to change? Oh, we'll talk about it at the end, but shall I continue? Shall I not continue with this scene? Shall I move on to something else? See how quick and easy it is? One thing we can also do here is a content for it. So 2, actually let's make it 3. 3 by 3. And let's move this up. Like so. And then we'll just have that on the bottom. Copy and paste. Move this to here. And those are kind of my lumps of produce, you could say. Right, so now some urns. So let's go 16 sides. Again, it needs to look like we can carry them. Maybe a bit thinner. Something like that. Like so. And then I think it's always good for this kind of thing to have some kind of, we'll do it another way. We'll get a handle on the side just so we have some scale to work with. Okay. Maybe make that smaller. And mirror it. To be honest, let's just rotate this. There we go. Go. There's one urn. Sorry. Right, so we've got an urn. What else can we have? We've got crates. I suppose we can have bigger crates. We can have different types of urns. So there's one with a rounded top. I do like the idea of having lots of pans, like stuff hung up. Yeah, that was it, pans here. So let's do, and we could have one of, you know, kind of cloths as well, perhaps. Maybe some kind of trellising would help with that. And then what we'll do is we'll also rotate these a little bit. And we'll also push these out. Okay, and center all of that. D3, I'll have a look at your thing in a bit. It sucks, I live in the US. Yeah, I'm 37, so it would be a hello, fellow kids situation. Oh. My one criticism would be that it wouldn't have the pick with the spikes as your second one. I'll switch the order. Cool, I will check it out in a bit. Yeah, okay, so let's label these SM trellis. Oh, trellis. Double L, I think. Okay, SM urn A. Sorry, I'm doing this off screen at the moment. That's just a box. Okay, so SM great long A open. Cool, so those are ready to go now. Save this, let's save a new version. Right, okay, so, tables. Tables is a good one. So let's get the dude back. It's always good to keep going back to the reference. Something like that maybe, actually, might be alright, about meter. And let's just do all on this one. So maybe have a shorter table. What I should do is just grab the ones I already have. Okay, let's get rid of that. And then copy and paste this, rotate it. Looks quite weak, so all I'm going to do is take these top ones, move them down and rotate them. I might just scale these in slightly. Don't really like the look of that, to be honest. I think that's better though. So maybe we just make it part of the second layer. Because this is like a kind of a Arabian market, it's okay if things look a little bit haphazard. Okay, so there's table one. Need to grab this. There's a second table. And then it would be good to have some things on a slant and maybe some smaller open area crates. So if we grab this one again. Like so. Spin that. And then we'll pop this one again. And the reason I spin them is because it means that when you bring them in, you don't have to continue rotating all the different ones. You could just, you know, the first one that comes in will be different. Okay, that's fine. And we're going to have little shelves for them as well, won't we? So, top layer of this. Like that. Maybe something like that. perfect. And then cool. This is SM tabletop A. Okay, that's pretty good. Hey Merlin. Yeah, you gotta love it. Yeah. Okay, so we've got some trellises, we've got all this at the moment. So let's assign this to the old wood. Oh, I'll show you some other things as well in what do you call it, Unreal when we get to it, because a good thing, like a random colour thing I've done, which just helps. There we go. Oh, and these things, some produce, I suppose. So we've got stuff to go in the blueprints. Now I think one good one would be like a sack or a couple of sacks, maybe 3 sacks, something like that. What time we're on? So we've done about 30 minutes. Okay, so this and then the stalls, and then I might start getting it in and just working stuff out a bit more. What we could also do is do some kind of sort of make our own blueprints in Modo and then export them, just because it might make set dressing a bit easier, but we'll see. Okay, so we need, and we've got parts for this already, so let's copy these, paste. And these need to make up our kind of shacks, as it were. And I quite like just pushing things in and out, as you've already seen, and just rotating stuff. Just makes the whole thing feel a bit more believable. Extend these. And then let's also bring these up a little bit. For me. Come on. Oh my god, come on. sorts. Okay. Actually, what I might do as well is scale these a little bit. Yep. Cinnamon Bun Day. Never heard that. What is it? 4th? And you know, this is the type of blockouts that I like, is that there's enough detail in it to show the form, but you're not wasting any unnecessary time with the finesse. You're basically just saying, here's something, here's another thing of the same type, but this is why it's different. This is why, this is what we, you know, this is how we're going to do the variations and that kind of thing. And also it saves time later on, because you, instead of thinking of, oh, what kind of blockout thing can I have, you've already done it. Ta-da, something like that maybe, and then last but not least we need to do that thing again. Push these up. Done, okay, and then we also need now some drapes. So you'd probably want to simulate this, you know, a really proxy simulation, but we haven't got time to do that really, so we're literally going to match these 2 points, and then edge extend them down, and again it's somewhere kind of which seems logical, and then down again. This way you kind of put in some subdivisions. So, and then we can just move these around so it looks kind of more sort of realistic, and then move this up, make it a little bit bigger, and there you sort of go. It might be good actually to put in a bevel on these sides just so that it's not too harsh in the lighting. Ooh. But essentially that's it. And then we copy that, paste it. And scale it. Now obviously this is going to be a bit more, so actually it might be better to start again for this one. Just because they're so different, but we're not changing anything really, we are literally just doing the same again. Lovely. And then last but not least, we just do the bevel. Keep it there as. And then let's center that. Center that. Okay, so send store A. Send store B. Cool. Okay. What's happening in chat? School national holiday here in Sweden. Oh, is it? Oh, wow. Kalabula. Oh, Finland. Nice. Oh, I didn't know you were Finnish. Brilliant. Ah, I do really want to go to the Nordics so much. It's just so lovely there. I mean, I've never been, okay, but just they've got it sorted out. They know what they're doing. Right, okay, so I'm just going to use UV in, so UV, relax, orientate, pack. And then what I also like to do, just to do everything at once, I just select everything, do a new map on all of them for the light map set, and then just do a projection, done. That's all you need to do. And yes, they could be better, but at least they're there. Okay, and then this one, same again. UV. Let's see what this comes up with. Orientate, pack. There we go, and that's it, because we've already UV'd it. Brilliant. Relax, orientate, pack. Oh, the trellis, unfortunately, but not the end of the world. So occasionally you get some weird bits, but it's fine. You know, you can, just in this early stage, it saves so much time. Because I always think having UVs is better than not having UVs at this stage. Just because when we get on to doing texture stuff, we've got something to go on already. So this was the boring bit that I've been doing in my lunch times, just so that I could have something for you guys for this stream. Yeah, because we're almost done an hour of this now. Right, okay, cool. So, we've got all of those, they've all got, whatchamacallits, additional UV maps, and then we just export selected into my exports folder. One thing I didn't do actually is do material sets. So fabric. I suppose if we have it as drapes. Yeah, let's keep it as that for the moment. I suppose they did have them, it was only the other one that didn't have them. Oh, produce, they need some. Produce. Okay, and that's all we need. So let's export those again. Okay, create save, and then back over to Unreal. So we're probably going to be doing more of the set dressing here, which is going to be interesting. It might be easier if we're doing the other one though, that's the thing, that's the question. But let's, just thinking the best way of doing this, maybe we need, so we've got those, that's fine. But it might be good, yeah, I think it would be easier if we use these and create little sets out of them, little blueprints now. It would just make things easier for placement later on. And again, we can always replace these later. Okay, so that's one, that's two. Cool. And it might be good to do this in situ. Let's turn off beams, rope and the drapes. I can actually see what's going on. Oh, the arches have gone great. Okay. There we go. Goes back in, so we've got something to go on. Okay, so now we'll do the crates. I don't know if that's just probably as lost as anyone else. Well, it's got to be better than Brexit. Okay, so let's move all of these out. Get an idea of what we're looking at. Okay, so the urns should be pretty easy. Let's just put them thing. So this is the kind of thing I'm going for, like a small set. So, and this is just, oh shit, I've got a cramp in my foot. Oh! Yeah, and this is just so that we can fill up the seam quite quickly. I suppose the tables don't, they'll just need placements. So what else do we need? So we need produce in some of them. It's a bit annoying. I wouldn't mind getting a job in GB, but rather than clear what will happen, it would suck if I get a job and then in 6 months I would have to get the boot. But look on the bright, you might not have to give up your memes. Oh god, yeah. I mean, who even knows? They keep chopping and changing. It's kind of like, wouldn't it just be... Oh, you know what? I'm not going to get into it. Okay, so something like that. So now if we can start, you know, maybe arranging these. And there we have one stall. And that's kind of what I just want at the moment in this very short, well, stream I suppose, but trying to get as many different combos as possible, getting them in, seeing what they look like, position them about, filling the space up a bit, making it a bit more lively. And actually, because we've got tables and chairs, tables and crates, we can have some low-level stuff in the foreground, so that it creates some kind of like central area, instead of having just stuff along the edges, which would be quite nice. So yeah, that is kind of where I'm going with this. So let's get some more stuff going on. And where are those trays? You know, the more we get of these, the more we can use them on kind of different ones. That'll work as well as I hoped. Cool. What else can we have on this top bit? Maybe just more of them. It's like playing the piano sometimes in Modo. This could just be an empty stand of some description. And what we could also have, we could have produce on the floor, like scattered, but in a very block out form. Okay, well, you know what, that will do for that one. Save. Over there. D3, are you? So you said you're doing the Artist Challenge. Do you know what kind of which one you're going to go for yet? Oh, I forgot sax, didn't I? Well, it could be something that you kind of put in later just to mix things up. Oh, okay, so more of a bigger store. Yeah, I think having sax would help break it up, but I don't have the option for that right now. I do like making kits like this. I think if you make them in engine, it's probably better, but you don't have a lot of time, so yeah. Be right back. Hold on. And I'm back. Oh, I know we've had this soundtrack on, but I really like it. Oh, what I should probably do is do one with just these guys. Okay. And then let's probably just make something out of these last few ones. Drive, yeah. I only saw it recently in the last 12 months. I thought it was excellent. Can't believe I didn't see it sooner. Okay. there we go, we've got some arrangements which will make placing them in the engine a lot quicker and easier, which would be good. Oh, it inspired those games, right, that's pretty cool. Okay, so static mesh, market groupings. Doing some renaming off screen, market group, and then the letter. B, and this one. H and I. Okay, so I haven't done anything with the trellis, but that's all right. Let's export these. But before that, we need to first save this and then repack our light map ones, just so again get better light information into it. Here's where it could potentially crash. Come on. Okay, brilliant. Just go through and pack all of these. Have a look at your link D3 while this is packing stuff, so I can give you some feedback. I'm not going to do it on the stream, but I will comment in Discord. Wow, this has come on so much! Oh my god, it looks great! Boom! Yeah! I will check that out after the stream properly. But that's a massive leap from when you used to, when I last saw it. I also need to center these as well. Because if I can set dress these in about, let's say 30 minutes, and then I can quickly show you my UV process and get those textures out as well, which would be pretty awesome. that. Three more after this. So it's the boring bit. So I think I would say perhaps D3, your meshes, your low polys shouldn't just be decimated. I think they're kind of simple enough so that you can actually create decent lows, and you'll save on vertices as well. But that's kind of a null point. I don't think you need to. Something to bear in mind, I suppose, more than anything else. I'd be wary of your close-ups. It looks like some of the textures or meshes, so you could have more geometry in your leaves, for example. And some of your textures seem a little blurred close-up, like the spikes. Save all that, and then just center, just turn off the stuff, just check that it's sat at 0. Okay, and let's export them. Great. Save that, come into Unreal, and this is off screen, but I'm basically just importing. We need to get rid of them for a start, the material ones. And then import these in. And all I'm doing is ticking off skeletal mesh, and then it's make sure you tick off generate light map UVs, tick that off, make sure that's ticked off, because otherwise that's the glitch that I was talking about at the beginning of the stream. So we import all. Shit, I didn't do my normals. Oh well, that's what that warning's about. And here we go. And what's quite nice is I can just throw on my wood, and I need a metal shader, so just duplicate one that I already have. Metal A, just make this metallic. Yep. Okay, just save that. Okay, so it probably could be a bit darker. Yeah, that'll do. And then we just update all these. And just dropping the same wood material on. But the genius of the wood material I made is that depending on where it's placed, it changes to a different colour wood. I need a produce as well, right? Metal. So I'll just get this up and switch it to my random colour one. Save that. Wood, produce, drape, wood, and you know, this is so easy. Once you've got things set up for the first time, you can just literally, you know, drag and drop stuff on. Okay, there we go. Just going to blow away all the redundant materials in here, because we don't need them. That's it. Just save all. Okay, so now back in. So I'm going to get my camera, the spice close up are blurry because of the depth of field, but I agree it looks a bit weird. Should probably remove that. I'm not sure about retop, saving point count over decimation, but yeah, I should probably on that as it's not as clean a way of doing things. Yeah, I think it's little column A, column B is kind of like in a production environment, you kind of want it so that someone else might pick up your props and might want to put a new texture on them or something like that. And if it's like you know, I suppose that will always be stone, that's all it will be. But it's something to kind of watch out for. Okay, so maybe we can move these around a bit. Actually, let's not start here. Let's start in the foreground. That would be better. Move the camera a bit for this. But you can see that as I move it, the things are changing colour, which is quite nice. So it just helps break things up even at this stage. So you can see it. Try not to move the camera. Sounds like Queen's Breakthrough again. Work on this composition again. think I'm going to get some colour in my drapes because that's not helping. So let's just change these to random colour. So this is where we need to tweak them slightly. Something like that. Maybe something like that. Hopefully that will help. See, and then when all of these have got like different materials and such on them, start looking really cool, hopefully. I could do with getting some more out this way as well, so if we just select some. Like so. Okay, so we've got too much on the left. That's fine. I kind of need some more stuff on the. Do that there. Move this. Okay, something like that maybe. Okay. And then Can I have something? Problem with these, they might be a bit too dark, but I suppose if once we get a texture on them, they'll look a bit better. So I'm placing these based on the camera angle, not where the player would go, I suppose. Maybe something like that. Okay, and I think the buildings could do with more colour in them, to be honest. So let's just mix these up a bit. So I suppose there's a lot of brown in the scene, so could do with some popping that maybe into more of the blue. Let's just make all of these white for the moment. Okay. Just help pop things off a bit. Okay, so I need to do the rope before I finish. So I'll do the rope now. I might try some drapes as well from stuff I already have, just because that'll be easier. So if we take this. Something like that. I think actually it does add something. Yeah, I think that's added something. Now we just need one in the foreground, I think. Oh, completely missed Merlin's eggs there. 2 in the zone. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks alright. Right, and now let's just add in those ropes. And I'm not going to use the block out ones. I'm going to just throw them in and see what they look like. So ropes. Is it G? Might just make the rope material a bit brighter. Cool, okay. Right, so we probably haven't got enough time for texturing, but I can show you what I normally do with some Energy Live, loving the low poly look, looks cool, and Metanub place, that was the inspiration. Not sure I got there, like, got here like 3 minutes ago, really like how the lighting is working. So, there wasn't, the only inspiration that I took was from these images, which I don't know if I've got one. I've got a plain one. I'm going to plain one, so I'll open Photoshop so you can see. But I basically looked on Pinterest, and when this decides to open, oh no, I need to open it with this. Forgot I don't have CS6. Bear with me. That's not it. Okay, so let me just save this. So basically I just found these images on Pinterest, and I just kind of liked how kind of things were arranged, or kind of the look and that kind of thing. And then I annotated them and said, well, let's break this down, what's working, what's making this scene look good. And like there was archways and beams and drapes and stalls and always some kind of throughway. The one thing I haven't put in is these curved structures, which would have been nice. And this is what I came up with. And Bo Hatozik, do you plan on joining the ArtStation Challenge second phase? I have been thinking about it because I think I could. Well, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it in this Blocktober thing, which is what this is in aid of, and kind of how far we can get in the blockout process. And this has taken me probably about 8 hours to get it to this stage. But an artist could take this now and turn it into an environment, and that's kind of what I wanted to get out of this Blocktober thing. And kind of how when you break stuff down it can be quite easy, and to think about things and think about different shapes. And also I'm not using flat cubes, I'm just kind of mixing it up a little bit, and each one of those silhouettes is going to give me something good and new. So yeah, that's kind of my thing. So I was gonna so this week we've done like an Arabian market fantasy type thing, and this is what we've ended up with. And it's quite flat in terms of colours, but there's no textures on it yet. So what I was going to do was show you how I would go about doing my texturing for this kind of thing, and this is what I do in the challenge as well. So basically I have a simple scene, and so I've got all these grids, and each grid has a texture set, so they're all different textures, and it just means that you keep all your textures in one place, and every time you export you can balance your textures against each other, especially if they're tiling textures, and also it just speeds the whole thing up quite significantly. So that's what I do, really. So in a quick instance, let's go with stone slabs. stone tile games. Let's have a look. So it might be good just going on something like CG textures. And this is like, I'm going to rush through this just so I can show you what I mean. But if we go concrete, bare, maybe something like that. You know what, can I save this? Save as. Damn it. Okay, I'm going to go with something like this for the moment. Save this as stone rough 1. Save, and then let's do a wood texture. That might be okay. Might just get a plank. Planks might be better for this. Okay, let's something like that. Save image. Wood rough 1. Okay, what else do we have? Fabric. Okay, let's grab this. And then let's go with like sand, I suppose. Ooh, that might be alright actually. Why is that such a weird format? Just copy that. Okay, Photoshop back open. Yeah, MetaNoob. I was going to put everything together and kind of release a pack, you know, just on Gumroad for if anyone wants to have a look at these, like all together and look at my process. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so now we come into here, and then basically we just rename these sand, stone, wood, fabric, like so. And then we bring in those, what do you call it? Where the hell's my reference thing? Bring in those images. Now this isn't, I'd normally take a lot kind of more care over this, but we've kind of got a bit of a tight schedule. So texture, import to the shelf, import, okay. And then now we go So sand, sand rough, get a fill layer. There we go. And then we can obviously tweak stuff. And you know, I generally use a grayscale image for this kind of stuff, but I haven't really got that option at the moment. So now, where's that one? Down here. Okay, wood. And then fabric. Okay, and that's kind of sort of what I do in terms of setup. And then, so this, for example, needs another fill layer, and it needs to be like this, for example. So you know, we've got something to go on, and if we just save this as market substances measure 1, and come on, and then we do an export, turn off the ones we don't want, keep the ones we do want. And we want to check that UE4 packer, yeah, those are the ones I want, and these need to go to the right folder, obviously. So textures, exports, select, okay, and then we export all them. Half of what 3 days know where to start strategy if you like yours. I find it informative. Well, like this is why I want to do it, so that I can show people that it's, you know, it's all about breaking it down, finding the composition, and then building it back up, and you know, not getting stuck into the detail too soon, because like you saw in my scene, it's there's not tons of detail in this. It's, like I said, cubes and planes, but there's enough in there that helps the composition and kind of makes it feel more like a place. And you know, you could get that done in a day on like the start of your project. And the great thing about this stage is that you can keep it loose, you can keep it you know, you can make changes. And like, so in the last stream I stayed in Modo, and that's because I worked faster in it. And then between my last one and this one, I got stuff into Unreal, and then tonight I've just kind of focused more on getting these props sorted and get them into Unreal and kind of dressing the scene a bit more. Now granted, I've been doing this for a while, but it's not that difficult to do. Okay, so now I'm going to import those textures. Import textures, exports. So import all of these. And now, because we've got the UVs on everything, we might be able to just drop these into place and maybe it'll just work. Okay, so I've got all of those in. So on things like the ground, let's get that open. And yeah, use master materials as well. Stone, so sand base colour. Something's come in for that already, and we might need to knock up the tile. Okay, getting the normal map. And okay, get that a save. Okay, so next one is, let's do the paving. I can select it, which is stone base, stone normal, stone roughness, save that, wood. Again, maybe this needs tile on it. And then the last one was the drapes, wasn't it? So again, brick colour. So that for a start could do, and this is the joy of this. So let's turn that off. And then we just need to export that one again. Export. Okay, and then come back, re-import. There we go. And then it would be good to maybe get something on the buildings as well. So let's use the stone again. Maybe we should use the height instead of the base colour. And that's, you know, all it kind of takes in this instance. So it's kind of like you can, now the roughness is buggered on all these, so that might be something we could go and fix now. So if we go to our roughness, and so stone needs to be let's put it like that. Wood needs to be more like that. Fabric. Sand, this is kind of going to be dry, but maybe something like that. And then again, once you made your changes, you just explore the ones that you want and kick them out again. I deliberate about building level in a DCC app as opposed to in Engine. Do you use UDIMs in games? I don't know myself. Light and bake, I don't know how it works in Unreal. So I'm not actually baking anything in Unreal for this because it will take too long. And it depends. So I find it's easier in Modo to lay stuff out and try new shapes and stuff like that. Is this importing? It's doing it, it's doing it. Could also be crashing. No, it's done it. But you know, that's how I would add in, you know, kind of do a bit of a texture pass like that, just to see how things might look. And you can tell, like, they're really rough textures, but again, to an artist, you can kind of go, right, well, that's meant to be a fabric, that's meant to be a stone texture. Oh, it's meant to be sand on the floor, for example. And now we've got textures on it, I might reduce the bounce. And I might increase the fog. Where is the fog? bit of a system hog. I have wondered a bit about Houdini engine for city stuff. Could be too generic. I don't know. The beauty of Houdini is that it's procedural. I think I need to balance the wood a bit. Base colour on the wood. Times it's almost go time for me. So let's add this. And let's just that's maybe a bit better. And the stone could do with something else as well. Like so. And maybe the fabric as well could benefit from having kind of a more neutral base. Like that. And this is what I just love about this, is you make your tweaks and you export. You're not forever opening new files, exporting, checking them, opening new files, exporting, checking them. It's a lot more fluid and a lot faster. And you know, this stuff really helps when you're doing stuff like the challenges, because it's all about saving time, and the more time you can save on kind of the go-between, the more time you can focus on getting the results that you want. Go. So I kind of feel like I need to adjust. Okay, and that is all I'm going to do. I think. Yeah, so slightly off topic, can you import cameras to project from in Substance? No, but you can. I think you can customize the projection now with the triplanar stuff. Yeah, so I am going to. That's the end of this week's Blocktober Art of Blocking thing. This is where we're at. So I got all the assets in from Modo set up in the correct positions in Unreal Engine. I adjusted the lighting. I did these stools, these wood things. I might just turn these off. Does that make a difference? Makes some kind of a difference. Maybe the wood is too... Oh, wrong one. Just very aware that the wood is very light. I mean, very dark. Sorry, kind of ended it and then didn't end it. Too light. There we go. So now we can sorry, I just wanted to sort this wood out. Yeah, okay, so yeah, so that's better actually. You can, I think the random colour stuff was kind of overwriting it a bit too much. Keeping it on the buildings, I think, helps break it up a bit. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at. And so we're able to achieve this in about 8 or 9 hours. Actually, it's probably more like 9. Yeah, so just over a full day. And we've gone, yeah, getting stuff into exported, set up in Unreal, relaid out. And yeah, you could argue that maybe if you built it on Unreal you wouldn't have to, or in the engine you wouldn't have to relay it out, and that's a fair point. For me, I know I'm faster in Modo, I can experiment more in Modo and then come in and do it all in, you know, a couple of hours and get it all boshed out and set up, and then just again go from there and update stuff. But yeah, we've got textures in, and we've got additional props in. We've looked at the lighting a little bit. We've done some different things just to help with the set dress. I'm still not completely happy with the stalls, and maybe like these could come down a little bit perhaps, just to help with the composition, and maybe these could go up a little bit, although they kind of look a little unnatural now. You just got to kind of play with things and just see what works and what isn't working really. But even something like that might do it. So yeah, it's kind of all about experimentation, but you know, you could now hand this over to an artist and say, make this look amazing, and they'd know exactly what it is, you know, what it is that you want to make, and you could give them all the assets and all that jazz. And also it's kind of like we've got our composition locked in from the beginning, so we're not having to find a new camera angle, but you know, there are loads in here. One thing I might do before I go is change the orientation of the wood, because I think the grain is running against a lot of things, including the wood. So if we just rotate that, rotation 90, and export it. And this is why it's so good to have, you know, do a quick thing on the UVs, because it'll take you about 3 seconds to do it, but the payoff is quite significant, because it means that from this stage you can you know, you can see what things look like. So we've changed that now, and now all the wood is running in the right direction. Which is great. So yeah, I'm going to end it there. We've gone over. I will post all of these up once Blocktober's done. I'll be in the Discord because yeah, so next week I'm considering doing a sci-fi environment. So if you have any concepts that you want me to have a look at and block out, or I'll do the same again. I'll do I'll get some images together and do some annotation and do that. But the whole idea is that it's we want to block out lots of different things and get the most out of doing this kind of stuff this month. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, overwrite file and it all done. So not real textures, need a character in there. The whole other thing, you know that doing your 3D, your carpentry would pay. You do your... I don't get it. Yes, you can, Metanerve. Don't be... You can. You just got to start. You just got to do it. You've got to do something simple and work it up. But yeah, I'll be in the Discord. And I'll post this all on the Twitters and in the Discord and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for coming along and, asking stuff and what have you. And I will see you all next week. And it's probably going to be Wednesday and Friday next week because I've got an insanely busy week. Great. So yeah, I will see you all then. Thanks for coming along. Bye for now.